welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for September the 20th of 2019. Of course, for those that are brand new to the show, my name is Samuel Adams, and 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I bring you the hottest gaming news that you need to know via youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia or a podcast feed of your choice in the form of the Jampack Report. So if you enjoy what you see or you hear, click that subscribe button on YouTube or the podcast feed and stay up to date and informed. But today we have a ton of news to break down, as we do every day, because the gaming industry is constantly moving, constantly flowing. It is crazy. Specifically today, because a French court has said Valve must allow Steam users to resell games. That is our headline story of the day. But make no mistake, this change isn't going to happen willy-nilly, and I would say probably won't happen at all, because Valve plans to appeal. Then there is a state of play coming next week. I've got the lowdown on that for you guys. The third season of Apex Legends, as well as the new character, now have a few more concrete details. A Terminator game is on the way, and it's not a tie-in to the brand new movie. Game Pass is getting a ton of new games starting yesterday, but we'll talk about all of the biggest titles coming to Game Pass. And of course, there is more news to break down as well. And if you make it to the end, I've got a freebie for you if you do want to play some games on the go. It's not a Nintendo Switch Lite, but it's the next best thing, in my opinion. And of course, free is free. But that's pretty much the lineup for today's show. I do hope you enjoy what I bring to the table. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's top gaming news. First off, a French court says Valve must allow Steam users to resell games. Back in 2015, Valve got sued by a French consumer organization called UFC Chasseur. From here on, I'm going to be calling it UFC for ease of access, not to be confused with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. UFC had a multitude of bones to pick with the longtime Steam steward, the biggest among them being that Steam doesn't let users resell their games. 4 years later, a French court has ruled in UFC's favor, and Valve plans to appeal. According to the French gaming news site Numerama, I believe I said that one correctly, as well as UFC itself, the High Court of Paris ruled in UFC's favor earlier this week. If Valve's appeal fails, this ruling stands to have ramifications not just in France, but across the EU. Specifically, the court didn't find Valve's defense that Steam is a subscription service compelling. As a result, the court declared that users should be allowed to resell Steam games. The court ruled in favor of UFC on their counts too. In its original suit, the org also took aim at the fact that if a user leaves Steam, Valve would keep whatever currency was left in their Steam wallet. The recent ruling states that the company will instead have to reimburse users who request it. Valve must now also accept responsibility when users say an item on Steam caused them harm, even if it's in beta. Valve's right to users' mods and community content will also be diminished, and the company will have to clarify the conditions under which users can lose access to Steam for poor behavior. If Valve refuses to change its rules and post the court's decision to Steam within a month, it will have to pay a fine of up to 3,000 euros per day for up to 6 months. Again, though, Valve plans to appeal the ruling. Quote, "We disagree with the decision of the Paris Court of First Instance and will appeal it," a Valve rep told Kotaku in an email. The decision will have no effect on Steam while the case is on appeal. So don't expect any major changes in the near future. Still, it is notable that UFC scored this victory, and it could very well lead to changes on Valve's platform. A 2014 Australian court ruling, for example, led to Steam's current refund policy, and of course, similarly, the company began to go after the $2.3 billion Counter-Strike gambling ring that sprung up in its backyard in 2016 only after lawsuits began to trickle in. For now, however, the appeal still lies ahead, so probably don't go around trying to pawn off your old digital dust-covered games just yet. This would be incredibly dangerous for Valve and for Steam. Let me make it very clear. Because imagine being able to resell that giant backlog of games that everybody has on Steam. Do you know how fast I would just Control-A my entire games list and dump that sucker off at my digital GameStop? There is nothing that I want to play on Steam. Most of my stuff isn't even installed. I would love to get some money back on that, and that's probably where Valve is coming from with their decision to appeal. Plus, on top of that, reselling digital games is kind of a dicey situation. You would have to make keys fluid. They wouldn't just be one-use, one-time only things. It would essentially be a physical but digital version of the media. I'm not really sure how that would work, but interesting to see that the French courts have decided in the consumer's favor, in my opinion. Of course, this would make a big headache for the corporate side of Steam, but at the same time, it would allow users on Steam to have much more freedom and much more accessibility to come and go from Steam as they pleased, to ensure that they maintain control of their funds, and on top of that, to allow them to actually be able to do what they want with their digital product that they have purchased on Steam. Now, make no mistake, I don't think any changes are going to be coming at all. I think that the appeal is going to go through, and ultimately this is probably going to be a big flop. But again, very notable that they did in fact make it this far. So kudos to UFC, not the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the other one, for actually taking Valve to court and coming out victorious, at least victorious in the first round of what's happening here. However, again, Valve is going to be appealing the overall decision, so don't expect to see too many changes, but I will update you guys as to what's going on whenever we know more about the situation as it continues to unfold. But let me know in the comments section, would you actually want to resell your games on Steam? I would love to hear your thoughts. However, there is a big state of play coming next week. Of course, we have been seeing the rumors trickle in, we have been seeing the speculation, and now it is time. The latest in Sony's line of PlayStation Livestream events, State of Play, is coming next week and is set to reveal brand new PS4 games. The company has announced that the next of these Nintendo Direct-esque streams will take place on September the 24th with the promise of a pretty hefty show, and that's a direct quote. In a post on the PlayStation blog, Sony says the stream will be about 20 minutes in length and feature a fresh new look. No specifics were shared about what games we can expect, but there will be game reveals, new content from PlayStation's worldwide studios, and more. The one thing we know for sure is that Sony won't be talking about the PS5 or its next-gen console plans in general. The stream itself starts on Tuesday, September the 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and you can find the start time for your time zone below. We have also embedded the live stream, they say, at GameSpot here in the article if you do want to watch it once it begins. But the State of Play live stream begins at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. BST, and 6 a.m. AET on the 25th of September if you do want to check it out. Of course, the most recent State of Play event took place back in May, which was a hot minute ago, and was packed with news, showing off stuff like Monster Hunter World's new Iceborne expansion, the reveal of Predator Hunting Grounds, and a brand new trailer for Final Fantasy VII Remake, as well as other content. This is going to have The Last of Us Part 2 release date in it, as well as, I would say, some kind of either cinematic trailer or actual gameplay itself. Hopefully gameplay, I would guess gameplay. Outside of that, it's kind of up in the air. Of course, you expect to see stuff like the Medieval remake, which is going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. But as far as big announcements go, I can't imagine what else could actually be included in the show. Of course, there's tons of content coming for the PS4 lineup, but the announcements are what I'm really interested about. What are we going to be seeing over the next year when it comes to the PS4? Because again, as the article does mention, there is no mention planned of the PlayStation 5. And so leading up to that, this is probably going to be one of the last big state of plays before we do start to see these teases and these trickles of what is coming for the next gen hardware. Of course, ultimately leading up to a reveal of the console itself, probably sometime around April or May of next year. But outside of The Last of Us and Medieval, I would love to hear your thoughts on what exactly is going to be coming for the State of Play next week. But I guarantee you it's going to be a good time. And I will say that I am a big fan of this style of presentation because instead of putting on this giant show, a press conference once or twice a year, update us on a pretty regular basis every 3 to 4 months, letting us know what exactly is happening in the world of Nintendo or PlayStation or Xbox. I like this kind of presentation, and I think that the State of Plays have been an overwhelming success. Of course, the frequency, that's to be decided when it comes to the amount of success from that. But if you did want to stay up to date with PlayStation, tune in on September the 24th at the expected outlets to see exactly what's going on over the next few months. But Moving on, we have Apex Legends' third season starting October the 1st and, of course, bringing tons of new changes to the game. Respawn has officially revealed the next champion slated to join Apex Legends. Players can get their hands on Hacker Crypto, a brand new weapon, and a slew of Battle Pass goodies alongside extensive changes to the game's ranked mode when Season 3 called Meltdown arrives on October the 1st. Today's Stories from the Outlands cinematic isn't the first time Apex Legends players are hearing of the elusive upcoming character. Crypto's name and abilities were first revealed by data miners before he was teased in the Season 2 launch trailer, and the tech-based legend made his in-game debut earlier this week by way of a brief Easter egg in the new Sing Labs area of the map. Of course, we talked about that earlier on a week's show, specifically yesterday's show. The cinematic teases that Crypto has arrived in Kings Canyon to save or possibly avenge a missing friend. Meltdown will also introduce a new energy weapon known as the Charge Rifle and an updated Battle Pass with new rewards. There will also be updates to ranked mode, which include a soft reset that will reduce everyone's ranked position by 1.5 tiers, slight adjustments to scoring, and increases to the amount of ranked points it will cost to play in higher tier silver matches and above. Players can also expect rank indicating badges to return, as well as new cosmetic rewards like gun charms and dive trails that also show off how high they have climbed in the rankings. And after deactivating the feature in the first season of ranked mode to avoid false positives, Respawn plans to implement harsher matchmaking penalties for abandoning teammates in the middle of a game in the next season. Overall, they say we are really happy with how the introduction of ranked leagues has worked out, and we are excited for what we can learn and adjust as this second wave gets out to players, the official announcement states. And so, we have the official details of Season 3 for Apex Legends. And I will say, first off, they do so well with these animated intros. It blows my mind every time. Truly, if you do want to check out the cinematic itself, I would very much so recommend diving in and giving it a look, because the animation is second to none when it comes to game trailer reveals, game teases, stuff along those lines. Very impressed with the blend of animation and with this specific art style. But Crypto, of course, confirmed to be the brand new character within the world of Apex Legends. Excited to see what his abilities actually are. Of course, as we can see, a hacker, somewhat of a techie, if you will. He has a drone that follows him around, so I can't wait to see what his supers will be, what his abilities will be, etc., etc. But of course, Battle Pass Season 3, brand new time to dive into the game and see what is new. And of course, I would say, if you ever do go back to a Battle Royale game that has constantly evolving content and seasons, a new season is always going to be the best time to dive back in, because everybody is kind of relearning the game in a way. So if you do want to dive in and give the cinematic a look, of course, it's up right now on YouTube. And on top of that, you can check out the entire brand new season when it drops on October the 1st after the conclusion of Season 2. However, you could also be diving into Terminator Resistance, which will pit you against Skynet this December. Now, don't get quite that excited. I see your face. Actually, no, I don't. That would be weird. I could be looking through your window or your car door window, whatever it might be, but I'm not. I promise. But there is a new Terminator game coming. A single first-person shooter based on the film franchise is set to be released later this year. Publisher Reef Entertainment and developer Teon unveiled a trailer today for the game, which will be launching on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It is set in post-apocalyptic LA 30 days after Judgment Day, with players taking the role of Private Jacob Rivers, a soldier in the Resistance Pacific Division. Many have raised concerns that the duo behind the game, Reef and Teon, were also responsible for the widely reviled 2014 Rambo game. Of course, it is too soon to tell whether the fact alone will seal the game's fate, but while Resistance's launch follows the release of Terminator Dark Fate, the game only focuses on the first two films in the franchise. The UK-based publisher actually acquired the video game rights to the two films back in 2013, so this title has been in the works for a while. Players will be able to fight against familiar enemies like T-800, as well as brand new adversaries never seen before in the Terminator universe. You will be able to complete the story quest to rise up in the ranks and side quests to help friends, but the game also features multiple endings, which depend on how you protect your crew of survivors. Terminator Resistance will be released on November the 15th in Europe and Australia, and on December the 3rd in North America. And of course, there is a brand new trailer showing off 1 minute and 40 seconds of what you can expect from the game itself. But excited to see if this actually does turn out to be a quality game. The Rambo game, not that great. Not going to be lying to you on that one. It just didn't pan out in the way that you thought that it would. And judging by the cinematics here, I'm pretty sure that the Terminator game might be slightly better, but of course, until we see actual gameplay, we will have to wait and see the fidelity of this project. I'm excited because growing up, I used to love Terminator, specifically Terminator 2. That used to be my bread and butter. I mean, there was a period of time, probably around the age of 9 or 10, where I would watch Terminator 2 literally every night. I had a portable DVD player that I would prop up alongside my bed. I would put in T2, and that was what I would go to sleep to. Probably half the reason I am the man that I am today. But the lighting looks good in the cinematic trailer. I will say that. On top of that, the facial animations all look pretty on par with what to expect from this kind of AA release. But again, if you do want to check it out, more info will be coming. Hopefully some gameplay released between now and the time that it comes out on November the 15th in Europe and Australia and December the 3rd in North America. But man, I do love a good first-person shooter, and there never really has been a great Terminator game. So if this was it, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Not opposed to it at all. But between now and then, you'll need a lot of things to play, and if you have Xbox Game Pass, you've got a lot of things to play. Bloodstained and Jump Force are joining Xbox Game Pass today with more on the way. Microsoft has unveiled the next batch of games coming to Xbox Game Pass. Beginning yesterday, September the 19th, Game Pass subscribers on Xbox One will be able to play Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, and Jump Force. Bloodstained is the long-in-development spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night by the original producer Koji Igarashi and co. Jump Force is an over-the-top 3D fighting game featuring many characters from Shonen Jump anime and manga, including Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, and plenty more. Both games are Xbox One X enhanced. Then, starting September the 26th, the roster will expand further with Bad North, an indie roguelike tactics game about defending an island from invading Viking warriors. Pause. Gorgeous game. Resuming, on the same day, Dirt Rally 2.0 and LEGO Worlds will also join the fray. All games except LEGO Worlds will offer visual/performance upgrades on the X because, X gonna give it to you. Then Microsoft has yet to reveal a new set of games for Game Pass on PC, but promised to share more in the near future. Pretty awesome additions. As I said, big fan of Bad North. Cannot wait to dive in with that one. I watched a good bit of that game, but I never did get it on PC, and now that I'm playing with Game Pass, absolutely going to be checking that one out. On top of the incredible amount of other games that I've been meaning to dive into. Of course, I subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate because of Gears 5, and ever since then I've been exploring it and wanting to play more of it, and so now I've booted the Xbox One X. It's pretty much my go-to machine to play games on at the moment, and man, there are so many awesome games on Game Pass. Anytime I get the opportunity, I herald this as the next big thing in gaming because this is such an accessible way to get access to tons and tons of the year's biggest games. I mean, Ritual of the Night, Jump Force to a lesser extent, but on top of that, stuff like Void Bastards, on top of that, big name games like Gears 5, The Outer Wilds. On top of that, you have The Outer Worlds, which is coming out very soon on Game Pass. Tons of incredible content for you to enjoy on there. For $15 a month, if you want Ultimate, $5 a month if you just want Game Pass, and of course, Ultimate does include Xbox Live Gold as well as the PC version of Game Pass on top of the console version. But this isn't subscription-based ad revenue content time. I'm not getting paid to promote Game Pass. I'm just saying it's a really good deal, and it's getting some pretty good games added to it. But one of those, at least as of right now, is not going to be Total War Saga Troy, but it has been officially revealed, coming to Steam in 2020. As leaked yesterday, the Troy Total... Wait, hold on. Let me try that again. As leaked yesterday. Now, of course, we didn't cover this story, but on PC Gamer, the magazine, the physical On the Stands magazine, we saw a leak for, of course, Total War Saga Troy, but it has been officially revealed since by Sega and Creative Assembly. Inspired by Homer's Iliad, the game takes place in the late Bronze Age, featuring Hellenic War-era heroes such as Achilles and Hector. Because of the mythical nature of many of these stories, Creative Assembly says Troy will examine them through a historical lens. Troy will retain Total War's renowned turn-based strategy layer with the different diplomacy and trade systems. On the battlefield, things play out in real time with a dose of fantasy elements such as hero units. This setup should be familiar to Total War Warhammer fans, though. Troy brings a new twist. as Saga games, tend to have. A Total War Saga Troy is coming to PC sometime in 2020 via Steam. And of course, if you were curious as to whether or not the game was real, you now have the confirmation. Now, I will say, not a big Total War guy, but if you did like that giant, more simulation-based kind of experience, then by all means, give it a look. It looks like it's going to be pretty much exactly what you would expect from a Troy Total War Saga game, which of course is exactly what fans want. However, if you don't want to buy this one, I've got a freebie for you. It's not nearly as complex and probably won't give you nearly as many hours of enjoyment, but Downwell is free on Android. Hello, can you go? I shouldn't need to talk to you into picking up a game that is perfect as Downwell is when it's free. Heck, you should probably already own it somewhere, PC, Switch, PS4, mobile, because it's only $3. But hey, $3 is $3, and free is free. For the next week, Devolver Digital is giving away Downwell for free on Android devices. Something was bugged with the original version. Devolver had to make a whole new app to fix it, and for all of the hassle, Devolver's just making it free until September the 27th. And of course, there's the Google Play page linked in the article itself, and it goes free today at 5 p.m. Pacific. Also, if you bought the original version on Android, read this page to figure out how to get a refund. So they're going all out on this one. They say at Destructoid, gave Downwell a 10 back in 2015 because it perfectly executes on a simple concept, a roguelike with second-to-second decision-making, all while gravity pulls you down. It's one of those games that takes a while to get the hang of, but once it clicks, you feel so fabulously content, depending and during the long descent. If you are an Android user and you've never really played, do yourself a favor and give it a download. And again, as I always say, free is free, so why wouldn't you go ahead and pick it up? And of course, if you really want to go all out, get that refund. I would. I'm cheap like that. But overall, Downwell, fantastic game. I played it a good bit on the Vita back whenever it came out on that platform, and it was a very good time. Highly recommend diving in and giving it a look, especially, again, considering it's free on Android. Why wouldn't you do that? But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. Of course, if you are brand new here, I do hope you enjoyed today's show. Hit that subscribe button if you are brand new or you're unsubscribed, and stay up to date and informed. Again, the show is hosted 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. There's always something new here for you. And until Monday, I will hope you have a good weekend. Literally the entire weekend, I'm going to be here hoping you have a good weekend. But that's beside the point. I'll see you guys on Monday, and peace.